nice to be in this space, but
bigger. It's different from our usual daily masses in the chapel. It's such a cozy family feel. But we're here because we're celebrating the fullness of God's love for us in the resurrection. And it's fitting that we be in a bigger place, because now that Christ has risen, the love of God so expressed that we should capture in our hearts this real truth about the conversion of ourselves in love, that now everything is possible, that we are not slaves to sin, and that we're not to be dragged down by struggles or hardship, but know that life is to be lived, and it's to be lived where God takes us to. And so the immensity of spaces and churches really should capture that in our hearts. Today's reading from Luke, the road to Amaeus, where Christ is walking along with his disciples and they don't recognize him, should always bring to mind that truth in our own life. That, see, the truth is everyone we're walking through life with, Christ is present. Because God created each one of us, and God is present in each one of us. And we should recognize that dignity and beauty and value in one another, because the truth is we're always walking with Christ when we're walking with anyone. Especially the people now who have stepped into the sacrament of communion, receiving the Eucharist. The real presence of Christ in our own bodies means that he walks with us, and we with him always. When I was a transitional deacon some 8 years ago, my parents' neighbor passed away. I had known him over 20 years. They lived next door to my parents. He had retired from the railroad in Newport News, and he was a very good, one of the best Baptists I ever knew. He was an elder in his church, went every Sunday, which means he was gone all day Sunday. He used to really say, you know, I am envious of you Catholics. Off you go, in an hour and a half you're back. He liked to work in his yard, and we would already be out in the yard sitting, enjoying the outside, and he'd still be at church. When he passed, he had put in his arrangements for me to speak. I didn't know if we were allowed to completely. There's always been a little tension between the Baptists growing up in the South and the Catholics, their understanding of us and our understanding of them. It's sometimes a little tension. I went to his church, West End Baptist Church, met with the pastor, and he said, "You've been asked to open up the Word." And I already knew I was in trouble. Open up the Word. I said, I'm 5 years in seminary and they haven't opened it up yet. I picked this reading from Luke because I knew his name was Tom White. And I knew of his life, and he was someone who went on a mission trip early in his life. And I recommend it to everyone. And if you have any influence over young people in your life, children or grandchildren, cousins, nieces, or nephews, encourage them, if ever they have an opportunity, to go on a mission trip with a church, any church. Because that walk with people who are created by God, who also are poor or disadvantaged in some way, in a different place in culture, can really bring out the presence of God, visible and tangible, especially in our young. He had gone on a mission trip early in his life and had been transformed by it. And for the rest of the 20 years that we knew him next door, he spent his vacations from work going to mission trips. He got malaria early on in that process, and malaria is something you never get over completely, but it didn't stop him. His favorite place to take mission trips with was Calcutta. Calcutta, what a wonderful model of Christian outreach. This good Baptist that lived next door to us kind of made us look bad in ways. At his funeral, I wanted to open up this gospel reading because I knew when he would walk with the Lord would know him. And what was different about the disciples in this reading, I always felt in Tom White that he would know and see Christ because of his work specifically in Calcutta, of seeing God in everyone, even those who don't have anything. As we celebrate Easter in the fullness of our unlimited potential of love, let us nourish ourselves with the Eucharist today, and let us be ever ready to see God in one another and to be able to now live and walk with the risen Christ. Amen.